Age of the Weaponized Narrative: Social Media's Influence on the War over Ukraine by Richard Jarrell. NATO and Russia, the West and the East, stir once more. Tectonic forces churn, threatening to erupt in a cataclysm that plunges the world into a new conflict, one with the potential to tear the world asunder, reshaping its borders, boundaries, and geopolitics. According to the Reuters Institute Digital News Report of 2022, which extensively explores news and media usage, advances in digital technologies have enabled this event shockwaves to emanate real-time data into the world, making social media platforms a significant source of information and global news. As the major world event unfolds, focusing on the forces shaping our ideas and opinions on the matter is imperative, especially since a knowledgeable populace is essential to the United States and its representative democracy. Social media platforms are using intrusive collection and sharing of personal data, the proliferation of misinformation, the creation of filter bubbles, and the biased moderation of social media to manipulate opinions and ideas about the Russia-Ukraine conflict, thus influencing U.S. policy. Such manipulation is passing policies that increase shareholder profits and spheres of governmental influence. Fabric of modern existence. The desire to share ideas and opinions echoes back to the foundations of humanity. Not only has the desire to share information always been an essence of the human experience, but of the United States and its democracy. In modern times, this concept has materialized in social media and its various platforms. As the proliferation of social media has transpired, these platforms have become woven into the fabric of modern existence and emerged as authorities of news and information. The pervasiveness of social media as a news source facilitates the construction of narratives and fosters the emergence of diverse perspectives related to a particular event. Such developments carry significant implications for the formulating of effective policies in the United States to address the Russian Ukraine conflict, which is rooted in these events. Governments, non-state entities, and individuals alike propagate deceptive and erroneous narratives that erode democracy and hinder individuals from making informed decisions grounded in factual reality. Richard Stingel, the former Secretary of State for Public Diplomacy and Public Affairs of the United States, asserts in his book Information Wars that today the selfie is mightier than the sword. It is asymmetric warfare requiring only computers, smartphones, and an army of trolls and bots. You don't even have to win. You succeed if you simply muddy the waters. Not everyone can afford an F-35, but anyone can launch a tweet. The absence of gatekeepers and entry barriers on social media platforms facilitate the exploitation of these platforms by troll armies who disseminate false information to unsuspecting audiences. By utilizing their vast user base, which comprises billions of people, the various social media companies' leadership has revolutionized the modern communication fabric. Fabric woven from the threads of gathered data spun from every action their users perform. These leaders wield significant influence by manipulating these threads. Mechanisms of manipulation. Each instance of clicking, swiping, and movement is meticulously amassed, and all remnants of digital presence are compiled, scrutinized, and repurposed. This data is analyzed and utilized to customize advertisements, generate individualized content, and inform algorithms that curate content for individual users. Consequently, this data gives social media platforms substantial control over the modern communication fabric, enabling them to shape public opinion and influence society in unprecedented ways. Algorithms are human-made, and therefore not necessarily unbiased, impartial, or objective, and their classifications may contain a range of biases, intentional or otherwise. Stengel asserts that using algorithms promote false narratives filled with misleading information that prioritize emotional or sensational content over factual ones as they are more likely to be shared. The cornerstone of democracy is the transparent exchange of information, which is crucial for individuals to make informed decisions. This information erodes our choices' authenticity and undermines the foundation of democracy. As the Declaration of Independence notes, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. The resulting authority is not just when obtaining that consent is achieved through deceit. Susceptibility. Misinformation and disinformation can easily deceive and manipulate the human mind, which is highly susceptible to such tactics. Psychology plays a critical role in understanding the susceptibility, and Ziva Kunda highlights this in the journal The Case for Motivated Reasoning. As humans possess an inherent drive to specific objective or end goals that significantly impact their capacity for reasoning, from evaluating evidence to forming opinions. The development of a cult-like following on social media surrounding the Snake Island Defenders, a group of 13 soldiers who supposedly perished defending Zemini Island at the onset of the Russian invasion, but were actually alive, and the Ghost of Kyiv, a legendary fabricated Ukrainian pilot, exemplifies this susceptibility. Both stories turned out to be blatant misinformation and propaganda. The design of social media platforms takes advantage of these vulnerabilities in the human neural network, leveraging them for their own purposes. This social validation feedback loop is now employed to advocate for U.S. policies that firmly promote unwavering endorsement of Ukraine. Information limiting environments. Personalization has become the primary strategy for social media companies, allowing them to establish a powerful position as intermediary between users and reality. While these technologies can offer personalized and relevant information, Kitchen et al. Highlights in the journal Understanding Echo Chambers and Filter Bubbles that they may also promote a narrow perspective and undermine democratic values by shielding users from dissenting opinions, leading to more extreme ideological stances. Thus, this personalization also leads to filter bubbles where users only encounter information and content that confirms their existing position and beliefs. Kalinsky et al. Highlights in the journal Misinformation and Currency of Democratic Citizenship that when a substantial portion of the populace relies on similarly inaccurate information, it can result in a commonly held misconceptions that could systematically influence collective opinions. This phenomenon leads to further polarization and radicalization of beliefs as individuals and like minded groups may become more extreme in their ideas without the introduction of opposing opinions. Kalinsky asserts that individuals who firmly hold conviction and mistaken beliefs will resist any attempt to rectify them. Regarding the current conflict between Russia and Ukraine, social media is fostering information limiting environments, only portraying users to a particular perspective. These environments pose an issue as it restricts exposure to diverse viewpoints and weakens the traditional functioning of the public domain as a space where the exchange of ideas occurs in democracies. The presence of information limiting environments is reinforcing the trends towards perilous support of Ukraine in the ongoing conflict with Russia. Motivations to influence. In collaboration with various U.S. government agencies, including the FBI, CIA, DHS, and State Department, leadership at social media companies is manipulating social media content to shape perspectives on the Russia Ukraine conflict, to secure policies providing substantial provisions to Ukraine, delivering the required support to succeed in the war. The one sided depiction has facilitated the complacency of the U.S. populace, permitting the passing of vast amounts of unrestricted aid. Subsequently, this strategy strengthens the geopolitical influence of both the United States and NATO by bolstering confidence, particularly among countries in the Russian periphery. U.S. Ambassador in Kyiv, Jeff Payet, is quoted as stating in Stengel's book that if Ukraine did not secede, it would be a powerful message to all the countries in the Russian periphery that it was not worth the risk to be a partner with America in the West. The underlying reason driving the involvement of NATO and Russia in manipulating social media content is to secure geopolitical advantages. The endeavors by the U.S. government, in conjunction with its various agencies, have yielded positive results. The information and news disseminated through social media depict a specific viewpoint concerning the Russian-Ukraine conflict. Hostile resistance and exclusion accompany any reference to an alternative perspective. The extent these social media companies and the U.S. government are willing to go to retain their monopolies in geopolitical global spheres of influence remain unclear. Spark of creation, an inspiration from the ether, a whisper from the void, forged in the neural pathways between synapses. The firing of neurons has the potential to unlock vast creation or unleash immense destruction. An idea, thought, or opinion is a formidable element, one that can develop to shape numerous aspects of our lives and now combined with the power of social media, others, and potentially flourish to affect the world. However, as our ideas and opinions influence the world, who influences them, and how much are they affected? Hopefully, through the evolution of our communication, as the forums and public spaces move online, ways to encourage open mindedness and collaboration will develop. Discovering impartial methods for dealing with issues can pave the way for policies that accurately reflect American desires while ensuring the U.S. populace fully comprehends the implications. The U.S. public must retain agency in their democracy, and this will require an informed populace.